Yeah, yeah. Webby Wednesday. What's going on, everybody? Happy Webby Wednesday to everyone. Hope you're having a lovely day, I'm in the studio right now working on some new shit. Been touring like a motherfucker. Just got over a little fever. But feeling good. Working on new music. Nothing makes me feel better than that. And I've been trying to stay as consistent as possible with dropping the music while I've been out and about doing all this crazy shit. First and foremost, Europe is an incredible place, and if you've never been, I highly suggest you go. And if you live there, cherish it, because Europe is, oh my god, that tour was so fun. It was amazing getting to see those places for the first time. Also, shout to Canada, of course, another great country. Shout to the United States. We're a great country too, but Europe is some shit, I gotta say. Now we are going to do a lyric breakdown of the new song, which is called Best in the Burbs. Now, if you're a long-time listener, you know that I had a mixtape called Best in the Burbs way back when, and it's kind of like a moniker that I've gone by. I'm the best in the burbs. It's something I've said numerous times, but I kind of wanted to re-encapsulate that and, make sure that everyone knew that the flag was still planted in the ground, if you will. I think it's a fair claim, for anybody who claims the suburbs. Who's better than me, I guess. Anyways, I'm not much of a cocky guy, but, you gotta know your worth. I think I'm a pretty good rapper at the end of the day. Now, let's get into this, and we'll break down a lot of the things that I'm talking about. There's a lot of references to Connecticut. I kind of wanted to make it like a Connecticut anthem because we don't have a whole bunch of stuff going on in Connecticut musically, and I've always made sure I've shown love throughout the course. I got my Connecticut kind of, I represent. I love it. It's a great state, and we have the best pizza in the country. Anyways, let's get into this song, shall we?
That early colonial settlement.
So we can just stop it right there. That early colonial settlement. Connecticut is one of the first states that was founded in the country. It's very close to Plymouth Rock, where the Pilgrims landed. So as far as like settlements in the United States go, Connecticut was a very early one. We're actually called the Constitution State because I believe the Constitution was written in Connecticut, actually. I could be wrong on that, but I'm like 95% sure that that's the truth. Anyways.
Left sweat stains on the sediment, head in my chest, so I'm never forgetting it. Yeah, we got murder and violence in hoods, and $1 million mansions in the woods. I'm from the middle, somewhere between us and the little. I had a hustle for the goods.
So what I'm saying there is, we got murder and violence in hoods, and $1 million mansions in the woods. I'm from the middle, somewhere between lots and a little. I had a hustle for the goods. So, I'm pretty sure that Connecticut is the most economically diverse state. There's a lot of everything, and I think what's cool about Connecticut is everybody kind of goes to school together, at least in the area that I grew up in, Norwalk. It's a very, integrated community. There's, several different financial classes, if you will, but, everybody kind of plays sports together and hangs out together. I went to private school, actually, from 7th grade on, because I got a scholarship, which was crazy, but I still grew up, and have lifelong friends from my hometown of Norwalk. Obviously, I know a lot of people out there, and people think of Connecticut as just this big green lawn, though. Like they always present it in the they always present it in the movies like it's this one giant suburb, and it's really not. There's a lot of everything, but I think that in media, Connecticut gets an unfair rap for sure. But let's get back into it.
I know the value of having a few dollars, but no more way around a fun time. Drinking and popping my blue collar, to buckle down when it be crunch time. Still call it home, I ain't moved out. Just leveled up and got a new house, watching Netflix on a new couch. Been a rocky road, but now smoothed out. Saying who this from a new phone, in the same state, in a new zone. Same old Webby with a new tone, in the same soil where my roots grown.
And I think that's a big thing too, really just talking about in those bars how I've stuck around. I'm still in Connecticut. And I think a lot of people leave Connecticut, because there isn't much of a scene. You know, they'll go to New York, they'll go to LA, and there's nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong. Those are definitely much more melting pots of creative energy, you know, but I'm just kind of stubborn, and I wanted to stick around and represent for my state, you know, and I think that I'm going to build what I'm going to build in my home, you know, and I think that's something that I feel very strongly about that. And, you know, you always kind of feel connected to where you were born, I think. And, you know, for me at least, that connection is strong. So let's get back into it.
Listen, in the burbs, I'm an idol. And shit, I'm honored to having a title. People smile and wave all times a day, and all of my neighbors recycle.
That's an important thing. Recycling is very important. I have the recycling sign tattooed on my head. Anyone who knows me personally knows that I'm like an OCD recycler. I'll literally dig through your trash, put shit in a bag, bring it home, and recycle myself if you don't have recycling at your house. Like, I know that's kind of crazy, but, you know, I take the environmental shit very serious, and recycling just seems like such an easy thing to do. But I like, take it real serious, like Captain Planet serious. And where I live, they actually recycle great. Everybody puts their bins out. You know, you can tell they're doing it right, so that's a super cool thing for me.
Yeah, they all love when they see me pulling up with my little fluffy chewini. Ain't got a chick in my passenger rubbing my lap like she trying to summon a genie. I'm coming from CT.
I said that in my last post. I don't know if you saw, but they all love when they see me pulling up with my little fluffy chewini. A chewini is a Chihuahua and a wiener dog hybrid, and that's what I have. That's what Moose is. And Moose is the fucking man. What a dog. He's the fucking best.
And I will never turn my back, putting this whole state on the map. If I ain't traveling, I don't drop a pin, cause I know right where I'm at. Bow. Little outside of the great big city, baby, that's where I roam.
And that's a thing too, like a little outside of the great big city, baby, that's where I roam. Like, we're constantly in the shadow of New York City, which is obviously like supplied so much, especially to hip hop. I mean, hip hop was born there, so it's like, where do we fit in? You know, we're just this little area above New York City. I mean, I'm an hour outside of New York City. I could either get on the train or drive down and be like, you know, in the heart of the city in an hour. So, which was really cool. You know, it was great growing up and having access to New York City, especially being from Connecticut. You know, you just see such a different side of life being out there. But for me, I'm just not much of a city guy in terms of living. Like, I just couldn't do it. It's too many people combined. I get anxiety if I'm in a city for too long. I need some nature. I need some trees. I need to see animals running around and some fresh air. So that's just me, though. You know, I like the quiet lifestyle, especially since so much of my life is so fast-paced and so intense that, like, when I do have the opportunity to be back in, like, the quiet peacefulness of Connecticut, I love it. So, you know.
I be blowing trees up and down CT, cause there just ain't no place like home. Man, I got a home, got a booze in my bottle, chillin', lay back in my zone. Still the best in the burbs, when I flex with the words. Someone pass me that microphone. Baby, welcome to Connecticut. The early colonial settlement got me the ring. Assembled the fellowship and my team going hard until we getting it.
It's a little Lord of the Rings bar there. Got me the ring, assembled the fellowship, and my team going hard until we get in it. Fellowship of the Ring. Obviously, that was the first Lord of the Rings movie, you know. Pretty good movie, you know. R.I.P. Boromir, you know. He didn't make it through that, Ned Stark. But, yeah, it was pretty, it's good. Lord of the Rings, though, I feel like once Game of Thrones came out, it was just like Lord of the Rings on steroids, and you kind of, like, forgot about Lord of the Rings a little bit after that. But, anyways.
We might be lesser known up on the microphone, but no, you do not want to bang out. Be careful if you choose to ride alone when them huskies running with the fangs out.
Be careful if you choose to ride alone when them huskies running with the fangs out. Huskies, obviously, pretty much the only team that we have in Connecticut, and it's a college team, but, you know, the basketball program there is incredible. I'm not a big sports guy, but, you know, of course I'm always rooting for the Huskies. But it's also kind of crazy, like, we don't even have a professional sports team, you know what I mean? Which is kind of bullshit. We used to have a hockey team, the Whalers, but, like, again, I'm not a sports guy. I honestly don't care, but I'm sure that, you know, the big sports people in Connecticut would love that because, you know, it kind of gives a sense of identity to a city, to a state, and it's basically split in half. Like, you have the half that reps for the Patriots, and then you have the half that reps for the Giants or possibly the Jets as well. I kind of like the Jets just because I like underdogs. But again, I haven't watched a football game since the last Super Bowl, and I barely even paid attention to that, if we're being honest. But anyways.
Winters toughen up a character, so trust me, you really don't want it. We're ruder than most of America, but if you ask me, I call it honor.
So these winters toughen up our character, so trust me, you really don't want it. I truly believe that the cold-ass winters that we have, like, it kind of just builds your character. It makes you tough. Like, we have to deal with shitty winters, and I'm sure that's not a Connecticut exclusive thing. That's a north of a certain line thing. You know, the Midwest states that get hit with those Great Lakes winds. Like, I've been out in Chicago and Minneapolis, and it's, you know, and then you got Canada. It's just like, it gets cold, and we have to deal with that shit, and it kind of just, you know, it just builds your character. That's all. And, you know, I said we're ruder than most of America, but if you ask me, I call it honest, because, you know, sometimes people misinterpret a Northeasterner's, they find us abrasive sometimes because we just kind of say what we feel, and, you know, a lot of the rest of the country, I guess that's not as, like, socially acceptable, but, you know, I think there's nothing wrong with that. Get right to the point, right? Like, what are we dancing around? But and that's not to say that there aren't people who get right to the point everywhere in the world, but I'm just saying that tends to be a trait specifically of the Northeast.
Listen, if you suck on that stage up at Toad's Place, we'll boo you right out of the show. We can't help it's our nature to be a hater. We don't like you, we gon' let you know.
If you suck on that stage up at Toad's Place obviously being like the main venue, that's where I do my yearly show, my yearly concert, we'll boo you right out of the show. We can't help it's our nature to be a hater. We don't like you, we gonna let you know. I've just heard that in general, Connecticut is one of the toughest audiences to please in the country. You know, in New York, super tough crowd. It's like, I'm from there, and you know, I put on a good show. So I've been told. So, you know, I never run into that problem, but I've heard when people who have been getting love elsewhere, you know, you come to Connecticut, like, they don't care what else you've done. It's like, what's right now? Your show better be dope, motherfucker. And that's just kind of how a lot of people are up there. Again, I'm making a generalization, but, you know.
Yeah, we the Northeast, make it clear. There ain't no Southern hospitality here. We ain't got no time for the fake smiles. You ain't shit to me if you ain't real.
It kind of, on the same point I was saying before, there ain't no Southern hospitality here. But, you know, and that's just to say that, you know, us Northeasterners have a certain reputation. It just is what it is. Nothing against the South or Southern hospitality. It's actually incredible. They are much more hospitable down South than we are. We're kind of like, I don't fucking know you. Who are you? You know, down there, like, hey, how you doing? Would you like a glass of lemonade? You know, that's great. That's totally great. But we just, you know, we cut right to the point. Anyways.
I'm from the Burbs side, whipping and swerve by. 2020 vision up on my third eye. Got it mapped out with an X on it like a shirt.
Now, I definitely, I say 2020 vision up in my third eye because I definitely don't have 2020 vision in my actual eyes. I have like 2200 vision or 2250, something like that. My vision is terrible. That's why I wear these glasses. Some people, you know, think I'm just trying to look hip. But, like, no, I'm fucking blind as shit. I put contacts in when I perform because I wear sunglasses when I perform. But other than that, I usually don't even go through the trouble of putting contacts in. I just wear my glasses. Anyways. I turn tides, you just turn in the channel. I be that suburban commando. Suburban Commando is a ridiculous movie starring Hulk Hogan. Check it out for a little 90s kind of encapsulated in a bottle and put in the form of a bad movie.
Every motherfucking day I be hustling, lighting both ends when I'm burning a candle. But shit, this is the life I chose and I will be one of the greatest, even if it kills me. Was the best in the Burbs in 2010, 10 years later, and I still be what?
Was the best in the Burbs in 2010, 10 years later, and I still be. Best in the Burbs came out in 2010, my mixtape, which was actually the first mixtape to ever crash the DatPiff servers. And, you know, that's when I kind of made that original initial statement and kind of really ran with that, like, Best in the Burbs title. So, I mean, it's been like 10 years. So, it was the Best in the Burbs in 2010, 10 years later, and I still be what?
A little outside of the great big city, baby, that's where I roam. I be blowing trees up and down CT, cause there just ain't no place like home. And I got a whole lot of booze in my bottle. chillin', lay back in my zone. Still the best in the burbs, when I flex with the words. Someone pass me that microphone. Pass me that microphone.
So that is this week's installment to the Webby Wednesday series. I hope you enjoyed it. Pass it around, tell a friend, go stream that, you know. As an independent artist, you know, you guys are what keep me in business, and that is fucking awesome. Midwest, I'm gonna be out there soon. Connecticut, obviously that show's coming up in due time as well. And then I'm pretty excited to not be on tour for a little bit. I've been on tour so much, it's insane. And my body hates me. And, you know, I just need to kind of like recenter myself for a nice little extended amount of time. Work on the music, of course. You know, probably dig pretty deep into a video game. And you know, get right, do the hot yoga, be drinking my good water, my 9.5 pH. Get my shit right. But regardless, even with the amount that I've been touring, I still have a ton of music coming. Every free time that I'm home, I'm working on music for the most part. And making sure that I can keep this supply line running constantly. Because, you know, that's what I do. Webby Wednesday. You know? But it's not about quantity. It's about quality and quantity. And I'm trying to make sure I hit both marks. And it seems that, you know, from what you guys are saying, you've been enjoying it, so it's exciting. The album's coming soon, too. You know, not too soon, but definitely not too far away. So keep an eye out for that. And, happy Webby Wednesday, motherfuckers. Have an excellent rest of your day.